Welcome back to the OSM channel. Today's a big day for me because I finally acquired my first red tool, my first Milwaukee. Probably going to be one of many, but what did I get? I got a Milwaukee M12 Fuel brushless half-inch drive impacting socket wrench. Wow, that's a mouthful. And I can't tell you how thrilled I am to finally get my hands on one of these. Later on in this video, we're going to go over the tool's features, why I purchased it, and we're also going to test it out and see how well it actually performs. Now, a little bit about me. I've been in and out of the commercial construction industry for probably 10 years now. I've been working on and off. Over the past 3 years, I've been doing a lot of work in the city with my stepfather. Everything from steel framing to a little bit of rock. You know, I'm a small guy, so normally the big guys come in and do the rock. But drop ceilings, front building facades, doors, door hardware, a lot of finished carpentry work. When it comes to commercial construction work like that, I gotta tell you, I still stand by my Makita tools. These tools have not let me down. I haven't had a battery go bad yet. You know, some of these impact drivers are close to 10 years old now, and they're still going quite strong. So I do love my Makita tools. However, the issue I have with Makita is they haven't really innovated in terms of their line for automotive mechanics. Lately, I've been picking up a lot of automotive side jobs. And what does Makita offer for automotive mechanics for driving, you know, sockets? Well, not much. I mean, I have this mid-torque half-inch drive impact, and this is phenomenal for taking off lug nuts and doing some suspension work. However, when you get into some tight areas, you can't sneak this tool around a lot of areas. Now, Makita does make, I believe, a 3/8 drive electric ratchet, but that's not impacting, so you know, that's okay for low torque. Makita really just hasn't made anything that compares to what Milwaukee has come out with here. Now, for years, I've really wanted a Milwaukee electric ratchet, and always I thought I was gonna get, you know, just their standard ratchet. However, after doing a big suspension job the other day, I thought to myself, you know, it makes a lot more sense to get the impacting version. And that's what I went with, because you could use this for non-impacting applications too. I think this will be phenomenal for a lot of applications where this just can't get into. For example, the other day when I was doing that suspension job, I had to replace sway bar links. And there was this one bolt, and I just could not get it off. I tried heating it up, had a ratchet on it, and I just couldn't get it off. And I felt like if I had a tool like this, it would have made the job a lot easier, would have saved a lot of wear and tear on my joints, and probably would have saved 2 hours of frustration. So let's start going over the advertised features of this half-inch drive impacting socket wrench. So first off, 5-year warranty. They claim up to 220 foot-pounds of nut-busting torque. I would like to test that. We'll see if we can test that. Low profile head. Let's measure the profile of the head. It's a little more than 2 1/8. So a nice small head. Off the bat, I know this is going to be phenomenal for removing brake caliper brackets and sway bar links. So I really can't wait to see what this tool can do in a real-world setting. Trigger. Switch, you have forward, reverse, and in the middle is lock. So if you're throwing this in the bag, just put that switch in the lock position and remove the battery, and that way the tool doesn't go off. There is an LED light that shines forward. The LED light is positioned right in front of the trigger, and I timed it. That light stays on between 8 to 10 seconds roughly, and that light is just terrific for working in tight, dark spaces. I love how sleek this tool is. We'll get a measurement here. I have a 4 amp hour battery in the tool right now, about 15 inches long, and the body like 1 3/4 roughly. In terms of your settings, you have 4 settings. Setting 1, setting 2, setting 3, and kind of like an automatic setting. Auto shut-off mode, as they call it. So mode 1, this tool will go up to 1550 RPM, so 0 to 1550 RPM. Setting 2, 0 to 2300 RPM, and setting 3 is 0 to 3000 RPM. Now for the auto shut-off, that will work when you're driving a fastener on or removing it. So if you have the tool in the auto setting, according to the instructions, it will start to turn the fastener slowly, and once it senses that the fastener is seated, it will torque it a little bit, from my understanding, and then it'll shut off, so that helps to prevent over torquing of fasteners. As for the automatic removal, like if you put this tool in reverse, it will apply full torque until it senses that that bolt or nut has loosened, and then it'll automatically stop, or slow down to prevent it from, spinning off at full speed. So let's go to setting 3, and I'd like to test out this trigger. I'd like to test out if this tool has a potentiometer, that controls the speed of the tool. So I'm just lightly squeezing the trigger, and there is a potentiometer in the trigger. So I like that there's a lot of control in terms of the speed of the driver. And that's on setting 3, by the way. So let's go to setting 1. You also heard that there was a break there. Now we're on setting 1. Seems like we can get that speed just a little bit lower. Again, a lot of adjustability there. What happens if we go to automatic now? It sounds very similar to setting 1, which would make sense because that's what it says it does in the instructions. Also, right in front of your different speed controls, you also have a battery indicator. I tell you one thing that I don't love about these batteries as opposed to my Makita batteries is the M12 batteries. I guess at least this one does not have a battery charge indicator, but I guess that kind of makes sense because these batteries are a lot smaller than the Makita batteries, right? Makita batteries are also 18 volt, which I'm pretty sure these are 12 volt, if I'm not mistaken. That's why it's called the M12, right? So, I mean, I get it. They can only pack so much in the battery without adding unnecessary weight to the tool. At least you have a battery indicator in the handle here. Well, this testing rig doesn't look quite the same as what you'd find on the torque test channel, but we're just making do with what we have here. So I have a box wrench clamped underneath this piece of steel I had laying around. We have a 9/16 grade 8 bolt. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to torque this nut down to 100 foot-pounds with my torque wrench, and we'll see what this tool can do. If it can handle 100 foot-pounds, then we'll go up to 150. All right, that's 100 foot-pounds. I'm not really sure what setting to test the tool on. I guess we'll try it out in the automatic setting and see what it can do. Like nothing. Let's go to 150 foot-pounds. All right, that's 150 foot-pounds. I still have the tool in the automatic setting, and we are still indicating a full battery. 150 foot-pounds. So it struggled a little bit, but it still got it done. The question is, can it handle 200 foot-pounds? My jig's slipping a little bit. I think I might need more clamps. All right, 200 foot-pounds. This time I'm going to put the tool in setting 3. See if that makes any kind of difference. 200 foot-pounds, here we go. And it did it. Wow. Well, I don't know how impressive that is because it claims up to 220 foot-pounds. So let's try 240 foot-pounds next. That's 240. Still indicating full battery, setting 3, 240 foot-pounds. Wow. It struggled a little bit, but it still got it. Well, I think there's one thing to do. We've got to max out that torque wrench at 250 foot-pounds. See if it can handle that too. All right, that's 250 foot-pounds. All right, here we go, 250. Setting 3, full battery set. See if it can handle it. Wow, 250 foot-pounds. So I gotta tell you, thus far I am really impressed with this Milwaukee right angle impact. Already outperformed its advertised torque removing specifications, under-promised, over-delivered. You know, they advertised up to 220 foot-pounds, but we just tested it out on a bolt that was torqued down to 250 foot-pounds, and it struggled a little bit, but it still pulled it off. what I would like to do now is I just want to test out this Makita and see what this thing can do. Now this is a very different tool. It's in a totally different class. This is a Makita XWT15. Now this is advertised that it delivers up to 240 foot-pounds of fastening torque and up to 430 foot-pounds of nut busting torque. I've never really torqued down a bolt like this and really tested out this tool. So let's see how this performs in comparison to that Milwaukee. All right, that's 250. By the way, this Makita is also on the highest setting, and it does have a full battery according to the battery indicator. All right, want to make sure the socket is facing you so you can see it rotate. 250 foot-pounds. Yeah, that struggled a lot less, but obviously it's a very different tool. Impressive nonetheless. So obviously the Makita XWT15 handled that like it was absolutely nothing, but you also got to remember this is a totally different class tool. I mean, this is like an upper mid-torque gun, you know, what'd they say, 430 foot-pounds of nut-busting torque, as opposed to this being advertised at 220 foot-pounds, but this definitely overperformed. So I can just tell you right now, I'm thrilled about the performance of this, and I can't wait to put it into some real-world applications and see what this thing can actually do. Well, unfortunately, until I can secure a larger torque wrench, I think that's about all the fun we're going to have for today. Now, included with this tool, they sent me this little toy catalog here, and I gotta tell you, it's just so impressive the amount of tools they've innovated and created with this M12 line. You know, they have everything from heated jackets to plumber snakes to scopes to light towers. I mean, it's just incredible. I've always kind of criticized the Milwaukee guys. Oh, do you really need that? But you know what? After purchasing one of these, I get it now. It's going to be hard to stop at one. Anyway, thanks for watching as always. I will catch you on the next one.